This is Timothy Barr from MLW. Make sure you give a listen to one of the greatest podcasts in the world, True Heel Heat.
Check the sounds in. New York, we know where we at. We on the East Coast, but we from the West Coast. But it's all love, though. Trill, Hill, Heat. Yee.
Hey, you fucked that all up.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat.
What's up? True Hill, Heat.
CM Punk delivers the Glasgow screw job at WWE Clash at the Castle. We are here for the WWE Clash at the Castle 2024 review, where we're going to break down all the action, including the main event. Where did WWE screw up with screwing over the Scotland fans? We're going to discuss that and much, much more. I am here. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. I am joined by my esteemed colleague, my co-host on the True Heel Heat flagship podcast, the one and only True Draw himself, Josh. How are you feeling?
Doing good. Lot to talk about when it comes to this event. Very mixed about it.
We got a lot to discuss for sure, and we appreciate y'all for joining us live. We appreciate y'all. If you're watching us on demand, remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Just drop the thumbs up on the video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, smash up the like, hit up the like button. We always appreciate the support. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. If you are not already a subscriber of the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, you can share it with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. And of course, most importantly, we want to hear from you in the live chat. Sound off in the live chat. Give us your thoughts on last night's WWE Clash at the Castle Scotland event. We're going to break it all down for you and go through our thoughts. If you got a hot take, a question, or anything else that you want to discuss from the show, like I said, sound off in the live chat. But if you want to make sure your comment is highlighted on screen and you want to show your support to what we do here, and of course, it is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to any of the fathers watching. I am a father of two 4-year-old twins that drive me crazy because I went to sleep at 3 a.m. after a collision and they woke me up at 8 a.m. So not much sleep for me on Father's Day, but Josh is also a dog dad, so show your support to what we do here. The super chat donations go back to the contributors you see on screen with us here. So it would be me and Josh. So show your love, show your support for this Father's Day with a super chat donation. But we got a bunch of people already commenting, already sounding off about yesterday's show. You got Eric Isaacs in the chat who says, "Good morning, fellas. Safe to say that it's now the Scotland screw job with Drew McIntyre is now Bret Hart. Priest is HBK, and Punk is Vince McMahon." Wow. What a comparison. I'm sure CM Punk will enjoy being compared to Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
he's going to have no problems with that. No problem.
Yeah, and I mean, and in regards to the comparison, I mean, obviously one was real life, but this one last night, I mean, it was just more like looking back at it. So at first, I didn't know how I felt about it. But then, like, kind of looking back at it, I was like, man, this is pretty bad.
I love it. Josh is going to share more of his thoughts. We also got Stefan saying Scotland screw job. We got Chris who says, "Congratulations to Bailey, #1 fan." Izzy Marrero. Monero says becoming the youngest Mission Pro Wrestling champion in history. Yeah, shout out to Izzy who won the Mission Pro Wrestling Championship at yesterday's show. We were supposed to be a part of that before Thunder Rosa got pulled for AEW Collision, but definitely want to show our support. They had a really good show yesterday, and Izzy winning the championship gold is a huge deal for her, becoming the youngest champion in that promotion's history. We got Frantic World in the chat who says, "What's up, SP3, Josh, and chat?" We also got Power Driver Finisher. He says, "Nah, I can't say Drew will recover from this, but it doesn't mean they've ruined him, in my opinion." That is true. That is true. And, you know, the finish in a lot of ways, we kind of said this when Clash at the Castle was first announced 2 months ago, that this would really be what they were planning to do, that Punk was going to screw him over again. But man, it just felt deflating, especially in the moment, especially like right after the show. And like, I'm watching with my missus, and my missus rarely watches any of the present day wrestling, whether it be WWE or AEW or New Japan, anything. She's not really into the present day professional wrestling, and she watched it with me, and boy, oh boy, was she as upset as Wade Barrett was following the show. It was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I mean, we'll get to it, but there's one of the comments I want to see. I saw in the chat and I started dying. That's why I kept laughing while you were talking. I was laughing because there's one comment that, definitely very true. That's what made it laugh. Yep, that's the comment.
Bala says, "Fuck that shit." I'm sure Romeo loved that shit though. I will pull back the curtain. We had a heated debate in the True Hill Heat chat yesterday about the finish to the show. Of course, you know, I was kind of in the position of like, oh man, that felt like trash right after. I was like, trash. That's not what I wanted to see. I wanted my booking that I gave. I thought it was more interesting route for the Drew and Punk feud, but I understand keeping the title on Damian Priest, but I don't think this was the best way to do that. It's just my thoughts. I'm not saying it didn't make sense. It definitely made sense. Like I said, a lot of us predicted this, even on this channel. We predicted this when Clash at the Castle was first announced for Glasgow, Scotland. It was like, yeah, they're gonna screw Drew again. But I think we kind of felt like it was in joking when we first said it, and then over the last couple of months, I've heard, you know, different booking ways they can go around it, or ways that Priest can retain, and ways that Drew can win and continue his feud with Punk. But we got what we got. I think they shot it very well, to be fair to them.
Yeah. In regards to all that stuff, I think what it is that, at least on our end, we're not saying that it didn't make any sense, because it, you know, obviously given the context, yeah, like I see what they did, but it doesn't mean that it was very good. You could execute something and it doesn't make it good. You know what I mean? And I just thought yesterday, yeah, that was the route you're going to go, right? Punk screwing Drew. I think there was other ways you could have gone about it. I just thought the way they did it was kind of like, it felt lame, but then it was just like, it was flat too. Like there was just something about it that I was like, all right, like I had Damian Priest retaining, but I'm like, was that the way they should have gone about it? No. That's how I felt. That's how I felt about it. But then, you know, when you have somebody who's in favor of WWE, anything that they do, obviously the person's gonna like overly love it, right? And I think that's where I was at. I was just like, all right, bro, like you could defend something, but now you're like overpraising something that's not good because everyone else is saying it wasn't good. So now you're upset, or you're like, you know, you're trying to defend it, but now you're just going about it the wrong way of defending it. I think that's why it kind of like, I kind of look at it differently, because then when I watched it again, it was kind of like, ugh. And then when they showed the backstage clip, that didn't make it better for me. I think that's what kind of
it honestly buried Jessica Carr.
Yeah.
Because why was she so dumb? Why did she not realize why Punk was asking for the shirt?
Yeah. And
was she not watching the match?
Yo,
was she
and
not watching the match?
And for me, I think that's why my view changed too, because it was kind of like, I don't know if this was the way to go about it. And then when I saw that clip, it was kind of like, yeah, this is fucking dumb. Like, to me, it made it worse. Like, it didn't do any favors. Like, it was just like, I don't know. Like, to me, it made it worse. For me.
We got Vala B in the chat says, Sat telling me it's all good heat was something. Well, Sat is a person that I won't say he's like a WWE fan and will accept anything WWE does, but I do know that Sat loves to go against the grain. And whatever the consensus is, Sat will argue against it. He loves to be
he tries to go like on the more
self-admitted.
He tries to be like, he tries to go more the positive route, which I get. I think there's people who are like that, and I think that's fine. But then when you go that route, the problem is that when somebody tries to debate you, then it's probably not going to go your way because you're being overly positive about something that wasn't good. So now you're trying to defend it, but then it's like, how can you really defend this? Because again, the whole aspect, we get everything, right? We get why he did it, why it was done, right? We get why Punk did what he did. It was just, it wasn't a good outcome. Because again, like we've seen with AEW time to time, right? And I don't mean to compare it, but it's like when they do something, right? It's overly fucking negative. It's always overly criticized. But then it's kind of like, hey guys, like, was it really that bad? Nah, I don't think it was that bad. And the problem with WWE is that because people are getting what they want, that's why it gets overlooked. People wanted Priest to retain, so they're not seeing it as a bad thing because they got what they wanted. Oh, my guy retained, so it doesn't matter everything else. And I think that's also been kind of the problem with like WWE stuff, where it could be really bad, but because their favorites are involved or it went in their favor, it's kind of like nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh, King Potato says, I am delusional. He says, I call that being delusional. So yeah, there you go. We also got Queen Monet in the chat. Thanks for joining us today. One of our members and Patreon backers. She says, I didn't hate the finish. I thought it was very creative, but I really wanted Drew to win, even though I knew he wouldn't. So there you go. Am I still here? Because I think I'm having technical difficulties here. Can you see me all right, Josh? Is Josh here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm trying to switch my Wi-Fi. Yeah. I'm trying to switch my Wi-Fi.
Okay. I think maybe we're both having technical issues. Okay. So good. All right. I was just making sure because I had the issues yesterday, so I want to make sure. Thank you, Power Driver Finisher, for letting me know in the chat. But yes, keep sounding off with the comments. We want to hear from all of you as we discuss WWE Clash at the Castle 2024 from Glasgow, Scotland. WWE, of course, another successful arena show. They did over, 11,000 people in attendance for the show, the biggest arena gate of the company's history. So another great, great showing for WWE as far as the business end. So no complaints there. And I would also say my overall thoughts, I thought the wrestling was really good on the show. Top to bottom, really good. There was, one match that fell apart towards the end, and we'll get into that. But I thought the wrestling top to bottom was really good on the show. What about you, Josh?
I mean, it was pretty solid. Yeah, overall it was pretty solid. Where did SP3 go? I mean, I'll speak on it anyway. Yeah, show was pretty solid. Matches were solid. The crowd was good, but it's one of those things where it's like when you kind of seen it all, I don't know. I think the crowd was good, but because we gotten so accustomed to a lot of these big crowds, it's kind of like, all right, where do we go from here? You know what I mean? The crowd was good yesterday, but it's one of those, again, when you're going across seas, we're kind of expecting, right? We're kind of expecting those kind of crowds now. And nothing's going to top the France crowd. Nothing's going to top that. So in regards to that, I didn't look too much into the crowd.
I don't even know why WWE put that on Scotland. You can't that France crowd were fiending for some WWE action. They ate up everything. Even if, matches had a few botches or a little slow spot, they cheered and gave "This Is Awesome" chants to it. There's nothing like that France crowd. And I don't even know why WWE was challenging Scotland to keep up with that.
Yeah, and I think that it's funny that you said that. That's kind of how I felt too. And to me, it's just one of those things where it's now when they go overseas, we kind of expect the kind of crowds they're gonna get, right? So to me, the way I'm viewing it is I can't really lean into the crowd to see how good the show is now because of that. Because again, the France crowd was great, but I think a lot of those matches were highly rated because of the crowd. You know what I mean? So I think yesterday, I think I got a better feel of the matches because of that. Because I'm all right, they're not overdoing it, they're not over crazy. So it kind of felt like I could watch it a little bit better. Which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I'm just saying if a match is hey, this match is okay, this match was mid, this match was good. We're not dictating the match was great because the crowd is fucking cheering 99% of the time in the match. You know what I mean? So that's why I felt when it comes to that, it was a little bit better for me dealing with it.
We got our first super chat donation from, of course, the GOAT, Will Chisholm. Thank you so much, Will, for hitting us off with a super chat donation to kick things off. He says, I smell a heel Randy coming, but the fans will still love him. Yes, especially if you're doing international shows. I don't see, even if Randy Orton turns heel on Cody Rhodes, that the fans are going to 100% boo him in the same fashion like they did for, say, AJ Styles yesterday. I don't know, because Randy Orton feels ridiculously over. That hitting his music just leads to a full-on sing-along anywhere they go. Even in the U.S., it's been since what happened at Backlash. It's been in the U.S. that people are now singing along with the Randy Orton theme song.
Yeah, I think a lot of people too are just happy to see Randy. Obviously, he's a legend in his own right. It has been a different feel for Randy Orton. It feels like this is the year where, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like there's more appreciation to Randy Orton. As crazy as that sounds.
Because he's like the last of a dying breed. He's the last of that ruthless aggression era that's still around. I think that's what it really comes down to. He's the last one remaining, because Cena's off, making movies. Batista's off making movies. Copeland's in AEW. So the only one left is Orton. I think that's what it really comes down to, right?
I can see that being a reason too.
And of course, we got in the chat, our good friend, the actor extraordinaire says, Cody Rhodes, Cody. Cody Rhodes. I will say that chant was cute. I like that chant a lot more than a couple of the chants that we heard in France. A lot of the chants in France got obnoxious after a while. That one just even when they did the same chant but for Sammy Sevize, I loved it. I loved it for some reason.
It was like mad random. I was like, what the fuck, guys? Like, you could do more than this.
I enjoyed it.
Like, hey, let's just let's keep it simple. They're like, hey, let's keep it simple. Like, remember when the San Antonio Spurs had Spurs go, what was it? Go Spurs go. Like, most simple as shit.
Yeah.
That was like their motto.
So let's talk about the show. And of course, when we start off these pay-per-view reviews, we give our one word to describe our feeling of the premium live event or pay-per-view we are discussing. So Josh, what is your one word for Clash at the Castle 2024?
I would say maybe solid.
I would say screwed.
Yeah, that too. You can use that.
But let's talk about the opening contest. Well, the show opened where we see, of course, how WWE's been starting a bunch of their, regular weekly shows as well as premium live events with wrestlers arriving at the building. You had big boos for Damian Priest, with seeing him arrive at the building, but big loud cheers for Drew McIntyre, which was a tease of what we were going to get when those two men battled in the main event. The intro video aired with a narration by the one and only Scott himself, Drew McIntyre, and Michael Cole announced a sold-out crowd of 11,391. Corey Graves and Wade Barrett are here for our announcing, not the usual Cole and Graves combination. And boy, oh boy, I was like, okay, this is in the UK, so it makes sense to have Barrett there. But I did not know that Barrett would become the MVP of commentary. He was great throughout the night, but he was exceptional with his reaction to the main event.
Yeah, I thought he was great. He's really up there. I think he's better than Graves. Maybe I know some people were bringing it up yesterday. Some people were saying, they went as far as saying that he's better than Michael Cole. I mean, it's a good argument to have because, again, Michael Cole for so long was really bad. A lot of it wasn't his fault. But now, because Wade Barrett's coming in a time where he could kind of be himself, he's not reading too much in the prompts and all that shit. So kind of see he feels more loose. I know somebody brought up, yes, I think I was on your tweet. They're like, oh, I think he should be like a manager or something. I'm like, no, he's good in commentary. Leave him on commentary. You get to hear him more on commentary. Like, he gets to be himself more on commentary than being a manager. You're taking him off that, and then how much screen time is he really going to get? Because right now their standard is Paul Heyman, right? He's basically the only one. If you're not surpassing Paul Heyman or you're not on the level of Paul Heyman, there's no point of you being a manager in WWE. So that's why I didn't really agree with that take. I think he's a great commentator. He was also good when he was in NWA doing it. So, I mean, he should stick with it.
I agree with you there as well. We got Fowler B who says this one word is pissed. And we got another super chat donation from our good brother Will Chisholm once again. Thank you so much, Will. He says fans love Cody in the US, but outside they treat that man like he's God. Did that chant started when he worked the Independence? I don't remember hearing that chant during the Independence. I think it's more of like a soccer chant that they just adapted to Cody. That's what I
it wasn't it really. Yeah, it wasn't. They didn't do that chant on the indie scenes with Cody. There wasn't really a chant for him. It was just his name, Cody. That's all it really was for him. But then also he couldn't use. I mean, basically that was his name. It was Cody because he couldn't use Cody Rhodes. So no. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff has been from WWE. So, like, when everyone does, whoa, that's WWE. Like, that wasn't a thing in the indies either. He had the same thing, but that wasn't a thing either until WWE.
Facts. We got King Potato who says, my one word to describe the show is slippage. And I'm going to point out something that I was reminded of on Twitter of this first matchup, which was like a foreshadowing of what would happen throughout this show. And we got Antoine with a good shout saying Wade about to be the Nigel of WWE, not of AEW. Nigel is the Nigel of AEW, but Wade is about to be the Nigel of WWE. And we got Power Driver.
The Nigel. I just read that too.
Power Driver finisher saying one word: booking. Yes, it is important here on this show for sure. But let's get into the opening contest, which was for the WWE Undisputed Championship. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes defending against AJ Styles in a rematch from WWE Backlash in the aforementioned France. And this time it is an I Quit matchup. Rhodes entered to a huge reaction from the Scotland fans. The fans loudly sang his song and his name. Rhodes signed an autograph during his entrance. He also embraced his mother, Michelle, at ringside, Mama Rhodes. The crowd continued to sing for Cody's theme song even after they cut the music right before the intros. They also called AJ Styles a wanka. Samantha Erlin did a good job with the introduction, and also the referee explained the rules to the wrestlers. Early on, Rhodes came out very aggressive in this one, battling out, punching at AJ. He grabbed the table early on in the matchup to the delight of the fans. Rhodes was all over AJ early on and fought him into the crowd, into the backstage area, narrow hallway in a room in the back. They were right by the gorilla position, and all the production staff, and I believe Bruce Pritchard I saw was right there with the computers and stuff. I was very worried that they were going to have an accident fighting back there. They went back to the ring where Rhodes quickly applied a figure four death block, one of Dusty Rhodes used to use against Ric Flair in their rivalry. He uses it here against AJ, but AJ doesn't quit. He was able to escape the hold. They did a vertical suplex spot that sent both men over the top rope and out of the ring. From there, Styles dropped Cody with a huge brain buster right on the announce table. Styles started yelling at Michelle, who yelled right back at him. He sends Cody into the timekeepers area, where I think where they I guess they say, Cody basically hit something or hit the ring bell, and he was freaking bleeding. Cody Rhodes bleeding in a WWE matchup. We all wanted it. We all got to see here, so it was a nice little sight for Cody getting busted open in this one. They go, and the referee asks Rhodes if he wanted to quit after Styles hit a fireman's carry neck breaker, but Rhodes says absolutely not. And the crowd was getting really fired up throughout this one with with Cody. They were getting behind Cody as he was refusing to quit throughout this contest. They were also very on Styles' back. They even chanting "fuck you, AJ" at one point at Styles. Styles went for the Styles Clash off the steel steps like he did to Cody a couple of weeks back on SmackDown. Rhodes was able to counter with a big back body drop. Styles used strikes, but Cody was able to come back. It's a nice little disaster kick for a beautiful disaster for a nice little move right there. Styles responds with a Pele kick and then a DDT. Styles wraps a chair around Cody's neck and drops some knees, affecting his neck. We get Rhodes refusing to quit throughout this, even despite the bleeding. And then AJ revs it up. He grabs a kendo stick and a steel chair. The referee is asking Rhodes if he quits, but he says, hell no. Styles takes the belt off of the referee and starts whipping Cody repeatedly. Styles even locks on he tries to use the belt to kind of do like a crossface, but he just drops the belt because it wasn't cooperating, and he locks on a crossface. And Cody actually actually passes out from the crossface. So if this was a regular one-on-one contest, AJ Styles would have won this matchup, but Cody was able to was passed out, so he wasn't able to say I quit. Styles thought that he should be declared the winner, but the referee said that Cody has to say the words. Styles slams a water bottle to wake up Cody, and he grabs some handcuffs and he cuffs Cody's hands behind his back. Styles starts attacking him with the kendo stick, but Cody again refuses to quit. Styles goes to ringside and starts getting in Mama Rhodes' face, so she slaps him 3 times. 2 of these look like the softest slaps I've ever seen in my life, but it was great stuff. It was great stuff with Styles talking trash to Cody's mom. Styles grabs a chair and walks towards Michelle and thought better of it. He instead uses the chair on Cody. Styles wraps a chain around his arm and he tries to go for the phenomenal forearm, but Cody grabs the chair and chucks it at AJ's head, who does a cartoon-like sell of this, where he gets hit with the chair, he falls on the top rope, and then falls backwards at ringside into a table that was just perfectly placed there. This was a great spot in the matchup. Rhodes wraps the chain around his hand, and he punches Styles. He gets the key for the handcuffs and frees himself before hitting a big Cody cutter. Rhodes is fired up, and the fans are on their feet. At this point, Cody hits 3 consecutive crossroads. He hits 1, and then he hears the fans saying, one more. So he just gets revved up. He hits a 2nd, and then he grabs the steel chair and hits the 3rd on the chair. Rhodes wouldn't let the referee ask Styles if he quitted, though, and he instead grabs the handcuffs, and he turns things around. He grabs the handcuffs, but instead of handcuffing Styles' hands together, he handcuffs Styles to the ring rope. And he starts completely obliterating Styles with body and back shots with a steel chair. The referee checked on Styles, who said, "Screw you, Cody Rhodes." Rhodes hits him again with the steel chair to bring Styles down. Styles gets his way to the corner. With Styles backed into the corner, Cody gets the steel steps from ringside, throws it into the ring. He brings up the steel steps. He looks like he's about to hit AJ, who decides to finally say, "I quit," to give Cody Rhodes the victory as he retains the undisputed WWE Championship. And then at the end, anyway, to get his final measure of revenge, Cody blasts Styles in the face with the steel steps, as Cody Rhodes successfully retains the undisputed WWE Championship. He goes to ringside, and he before he hit Styles with the steel steps, he looked at his mom and asked her if he should do it, and she nodded yes. So that's why he smashed him in the face. Cole said that this was a message to the locker room as Cody poses on top of the steps, victorious. Another instant classic between AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes here. After the match, though, Cody goes up the entranceway, and he is met by the new leader of the bloodline, the new head of the table, Solo Sikoa. Solo stands next to Cody and then goes face to face with him before the rest of the bloodline jump Cody from behind. But this leads to the music of Orton hitting, as Orton and Kevin Owens fight off the new bloodline. So the baby faces stand tall at the top of the entranceway. Cody Rhodes grabs his undisputed WWE Championship, and we get this great shot of Randy Orton looking at Cody Rhodes' undisputed WWE Championship like it was that lady's breast at that one house show years ago. Great stuff. This was another fantastic match between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, for 2 guys that did not touch until WWE Backlash just last month. They have incredible chemistry together. This is I upped actually from our review. I think during our review and even in my star ratings that I put on Twitter, I gave the matchup at Backlash 4.5 stars. I upped that on a second viewing to 4 3/4. Sorry, Dave. I don't think it was 5 stars. I think you're just grading the crowd. The crowd was 5 stars for sure. But this match, just as great, and I will give this one 4.5 stars. This was a excellent way to kick off the show. And like I always say, if you're not going to close, you should open. So I thought it was great match placement with having this kick off the show, even though in a lot of ways, as far as match quality, the show peaked here because this was just fantastic and no one could really follow it. What did you think, Josh?
I agree with that. Great matchup. Both guys work well together. It was going to be interesting to see how they use like the weapons and everything and stuff like that, just because, you know, this is not really what AJ Styles does. Like, this is not the kind of matches he does. So I was interested in that aspect, and I think both guys delivered. You know, but it's also crazy that for a week we had like some people saying like, oh, AJ Styles needs to win because Cody needs more adversity because he could get his title back and all this. I'm like, what? No, he don't. I was like, this is WWE. They're not gonna fucking those days. I think honestly, those kind of days of like what they did in Attitude Era, like, hey, let's get the belt back and shit, like 2-3 time champ. I think those days are gone. I think they're in the era of long champions, which I'm all for. I think if you have a long, nice reign, I think that's greater than being a multi-time champion, in my opinion. We've seen it with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is a 4 or 5 time champion. But what everybody talks about, hey, he was champion for over 1,300 days. That it means more. That something like that means more now. So there was never an indication that AJ Styles was winning. Again, AJ Styles is in the downside of his career, but him having these kind of moments still, you know, it's cool to see. It's just that as a fan, as somebody that's loved AJ Styles, you know, I've already accepted, like, yeah, he's not getting a major title any probably not anymore. And that's okay. I think we've seen all his great work. I appreciate everything he's done. So when it comes to that aspect, the match was great. The finish was fine to me. It was just funny that he still did it because his mama said it. Like he asked his mama and he still said fuck it, boom. And then the ending was good too, just because like we did say when the bloodline wasn't there for this show, what was it? What was the show that they weren't a part of? Was it King of the Ring?
King and Queen of the Ring, yeah.
And we kind of felt like their presence was missing. So it was kind of cool to see like, all right, they did something. Even though it was the start of the show, I mean, regardless, they did work on the angle and they did made it clear like we ain't forget what you did to my tribal chief. So I mean, it was cool. I liked it. It was a great opener. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, this should have main evented. I think in different circumstances, I agree with that. But because it was Drew McIntyre, it's his home country, we all knew he was getting the main event. So regardless, good spot to open the match. Great match.
Yeah. And yeah, we got a bunch of people rating it very highly. On the other hand, we got King Potato who says Roman is not comparable. He's just on another level. This Cody reign has been mid as fuck, in my opinion, at least. I disagree highly. I think this Cody reign has been so much fun so far. He's had a really good feud with AJ Styles with a pair of great PLE matches. He had the mini feud with Logan Paul, who I thought that he had very, very good chemistry with as far as like their talking segments. And then in the matchup, I thought that was great as well. He has not had a bad matchup since becoming champion. The crowds are responding to him like he's the top baby face. They're still drawing well. I don't understand how anyone can complain about this Cody reign so far.
Yeah, and you know, as a big Cody fan myself, I do got to disagree with that too. It's been some great stuff, and I will admit I was worried about what they were going to do with him after the title win, because again, we've all said it, right? And I think this is a testament to wrestling in general. The chase is always greater than the actual run sometimes, right? Majority of the time, that's what people wanted. You know, that's the attention that they get, right? Chasing the title. And then when that big moment happens, it's all worth it. So when Cody got his moment, it was all great. But then I also was worried. I'm like, fuck, how are they gonna top what they did with just Roman? Roman was fucking champion basically damn near 4 years. So it's like, how can you really, what are you gonna do to really top? And then also on top of that, he's a baby face. So it was like, how can you really build off of that? And I think they've done a great job, given the circumstances. Again, Cody is the type of guy that you could put on TV. He'll cut a good promo, stuff like that. Like, he covers a lot of bases that you need these days in wrestling. So again, he's good on the mic. He's putting on great matches. You just said, look, what you said, four 3/4 matches and then 4.5. I mean, it's great matches. They've been great title matches.
And I gave the Logan match 4 1/4. So like,
yeah,
he's had nothing but above 4 1/4 matches since he became champion. And I thought the WrestleMania matchup that he won the title was 5 stars. So
it was fine.
Like,
so
the only nitpick that I can give the Cody Rhodes reign, and maybe that's where King Potato is feeling like it's been mid, is that he has not been the main story on SmackDown. But the post-match put him in the main story on SmackDown, because the main story has still been the bloodline, and he needed to go back to that to be the main story again. And I like the fact that Solo came out. It played into the backstage segment a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown when Paul Heyman said, when Roman comes back, we need to have Cody Rhodes in position for him to take the title. And he says, and Solo said, we have Cody right where we want him, and he doesn't even know it. And this was that coming to fruition with him coming out, giving a little sarcastic clap for Cody, and then getting in his face, jumping him with the rest of the bloodline. And then the whole rivalry with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton stemmed from Solo being pissed that Kevin Owens basically took over. Kevin Owens went into Cody's new locker room because Cody took over the old Roman Reigns locker room. And that's why he had Tama assault Kevin Owens in the first place. That started this whole rivalry. So this is bringing everything together with this post-match.
Yeah, and then also you're building off possibly the SummerSlam match between Orton and Cody, because Orton was looking at the belt, and that's all everybody was focused on. Like, oh shit, look at him looking at the belt. So, yeah. So I mean, they've again, I thought they executed it well. Some great things coming up, So like now again, like you just explained with all that stuff with Bloodline and with Cody. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do leading up to SummerSlam. So I mean, and that aspect is good, because we don't even have Money in the Bank yet. So it's like I'm looking to SummerSlam. We're not even talking about Money in the Bank. So it's like, again, they've been doing some great stuff.
What do you think is the Money in the Bank matchup? I think because of this post match, we're probably going to get a 6-man tag, because I don't think Cody needs to defend the title at Money in the Bank. I don't think Solo's ready for that spot either.
No, and he shouldn't, because I think, again, Solo is in a position where he was losing a lot, and then made him a leader. So, but because it's been so good, you look over that. But now if you put him in the spot again and then he loses, it's like, bro, how many times he lost to Cody already? Because he's lost to Cody several times. And it's like, I don't want to see that again. No offense to Solo. 6-man tag is it's the best way to go about it, because again, Money in the Bank, you're going to focus on the 2 Money in the Bank matches no matter what. So I think that's a good, and they did it. I believe they did it with Roman, right? Wasn't Roman like in a tag match or something? Didn't they do that?
Yeah, last year at Money in the Bank with the Bloodline Civil War was versus Solo and Roman. So
I think you continue that trend. Title doesn't need to be defended for that show, because again, the two focus on that night is going to be the 2 Money in the Bank matches. So you could do the 3-on-3, the 6-man tag. I'll be fine with that.
Yeah. And if they focus on this rivalry, of Cody, KO, and Orton versus the Bloodline become hot enough, they can still main event the show. They like the Bloodline Civil War did last year, because that was the big story, even though there was 2 Money in the Bank matches.
Yeah, because I mean, and then even so, I think the Money in the Bank, I think you only make that the main event depending on who's in the actual match. I think that's the only way. But if you're gonna go this route with the biggest story on SmackDown and all that stuff, might as well go with the hot hand right now. So I mean, I'm in favor for that. So I mean, I hope they go that route.
We also got here Safet, who says, don't forget the botch production at the start of the I Quit matchup. Yes, Cody's graphic before the introductions said talent name WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I was like, oh, Jesus. Who's getting fired from WWE production?
How you fuck that up? That's just weird. Like, not only like it was just like, bro, now you didn't have the name. You got the wrong belt. Like, how does that happen? I think you get the wrong name. That's different because that happens but god damn, like, why was that graphic even up in the first place?
Yeah. Yeah. We also got Derek Edmonds, who says Roman Reigns is returning soon as well. I can see that. I can see if they want to hold off on Cody and Orton, you could do the 6-man at Money in the Bank and have Roman return there to set up Roman Cody 3 at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but then also it's gonna be depending on Roman's schedule, because I've been hearing some rumblings about he might be doing another project. So he also got to keep that in mind, because he's currently filming a movie and he actually might get something picked up, because he's going the Dwayne John Cena route, which I don't blame him for, but it is what it is.
He deserves it. He deserves it. Our tribal chief. One day Josh will acknowledge our tribal chief and put the
maybe one day, but that won't be today.
When he returns, don't worry, guys. It's gonna happen.
But I mean, I will wish him a happy birthday. He got like 5 kids, right? He got 5 kids.
Yes.
So that's a lot.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to AJ. Happy Father's Day to Cody. Happy Father's Day to Roman. Happy Father's Day to the Usos.
Roman got 5 kids, right? He got 5 kids. Oof.
Man,
AJ got 4 kids.
I swear, man, the Samoans and the Briscoes. I don't know who got more kids.
Yo, that's right. Yo, they got mad kids. Oh shit, I remember that. Yo, that's true. Damn, that's a lot. That's a lot of fucking kids.
The actor extraordinaire saying Money in the Bank, Cody versus Styles 3. If Styles loses, he must retire. I don't see that happening. I think they finished the rivalry here, especially.
Yeah, I think the rivalry peaked already.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. That's fine.
I think they should have saved the I Quit match if they were going to do that. They should have done the I Quit match at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and then the problem with that too is that if you do a third match, what's the point of the third fucking match? Cody has won twice already. That was the issue I had last year with the Seth feud. When Seth faced Finn, I'm like, what's the point of the third match? Fucking Seth has already won twice. And then guess what? He lost again. So I was like, this is even worse. Like, you had a feud and then man won all 3 matches. I'm like, at that point, when somebody, it was not 50-50 booking, I don't need a third match. Again, the guys, they worked well together, but I'm like, do they really need a third match? No, because you had an I Quit match. What the fuck are you gonna do now? Hell in a Cell? I don't want that in Hell in a Cell, personally.
Yeah, no. We had next up, the second match on the show was a triple threat tag team matchup for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defending against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, as well as the hometown heroes from Glasgow, Scotland, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Huge ovation for them during the intros to the matchup. This had a lot more crowd heat than I thought it would be, with the crowd really getting behind Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill early, who showed off their athleticism as well as their strength and power. Jade with a nice little spot where she caught Zoe and did a Samoan drop and fall away slam combination. You had her and Bianca doing some double teams and posing as the crowd got really behind them. Then the heels decided to do basically come together and work together to take out the baby faces here They attack them. They start railing off some offense here. But, of course, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark basically attacked them after they gained the advantage on and took out Cargill and Belair. They attack the Scotland-born duo. This leads to Bianca kind of taking the heat in the matchup. I do like that the matchup was like a regular three-way, where they had 3 people in the ring at the same time. Sometimes, even in like AEW, they only do 2 people in the matchup, even though it's like 4 corners or a triple threat matchup. I like when it's 3 people in the match. It's a real triple threat matchup. This match was going along nicely, and I thought it was going to actually turn out to be a fun matchup as Belair hits a big superplex on Zoe Stark, and then she makes the hot tag to Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill goes for the same springboard attack that she did at Backlash that she executed flawlessly, but this time, unfortunately, in the first matchup, little tip point, if you go back and watch the show, during the first matchup, the referee tells AJ Styles that the ropes are slippery, which became some foreshadowing, which happened here as Cargill slipped off the top rope and really stumbled. She was able to recover and continue her sequence or comeback here, which included her booting and delivering a sit-out powerbomb to Zoe Stark at the same time, which she nearly almost botched that one as well, but she was able to recover very nicely. There was also a moment where Shayna Baszler locked on the Kurafita clutch, and Jade looked like she tapped out, but I think she was mainly telling like maybe Shayna to ease up or that she was choking her too hard. I don't know. There might have been just some miscommunication there, or she was trying to communicate something. The ref didn't see it at first and obviously didn't call for the bell, but you could visibly hear Jessica Carr during the matchup when she was able to see what Jade was doing, telling her you're tapping, so she would stop doing it. And then there was another moment where I think she tried for a pump kick on Shayna when Shayna was turned around and had her back. It just really kind of fell apart and didn't really recover until the actual finish of the matchup. Belair broke up the Kurafita clutch with a 450 splash, which he didn't completely connect on, but got knees right to the back of Shayna Baszler. I felt bad for Shayna on that spot. Belair and Cargill was able to hit their finisher, the combo DDT German suplex, as Jade was going for the cover, though. Isla Dawn comes in, breaks up the cover. She hits a German suplex on Jade and covers Shayna Baszler for the shock surprise title change as Isla Dawn and Alba Fire become your new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. The crowd exploded with a big cheer, realizing they got the win, and a very emotional celebration as all the emotions from this past, month, week, for Alba Fire, as it was, reported that she did lose her mother in a tragic car accident in Florida when she was visiting her on holiday, and she just had all this emotion, kissing her fiance or husband at ringside. Isla Dawn celebrating with her family right at ringside as well. A great magical moment. They were given flowers. The crowd chanted, "You deserve it," as they posed with the belts. Like I said, the match was going along nicely until Jade really kind of slipped off the top rope and inadvertently tapped out, and it just couldn't come together until the very end of the matchup. But the Fire and Dawn victory got over big with this Scotland crowd. So I'm going to give the match 2.5 stars. It was pretty decent until the botches at the end there. What did you think?
Basically the same. It started off good, and then it kind of just fell apart. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it kind of felt like the same thing with Jade before. Well, was it Backlash where
it was the Backlash match where there was that awkward moment during the matchup. I think midway through where there was just and we blamed that one on the crowd being too loud. This one it was the ropes were too slippery.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's unfortunate, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, I try to be as fair as possible when it comes to Jade, just because, like, I already know what she's about. She's not going to be one of those, like, she's not going to be a Becky Lynch. But you signed her to be like this big thing, and kind of just seeing. I think the problem too is that you're kind of seeing those things kind of being exposed to more because it's on a bigger scale, right? Even in the tag team, you're starting to see that. In regards to the ropes, it was kind of crazy because I remember when the whole thing happened in the main event, which we'll get to. Somebody tried to blame AEW for that shit. Like,
oh man, I saw that. I saw that
too, right?
I think Wrestle Cringe posted the tweet.
Yeah, they're like, oh, so you're
AEW's
blaming AEW for WWE ropes this time? Like, what? Like, it was fucking stupid. And it's just like, what? Like, oh, it's unfortunate because I've seen shit with ropes before. Like, a lot of people don't know, but those shits hurt. Like, ropes hurt. The wrestling ropes hurt. And I've even seen somebody get their nose broken because of the ropes. Somebody did a dive before, tried to do a suicide dive, and they actually broke their nose because of the ropes. It happens, right? So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate it happened here. As for the title change, I was very surprised. I really thought the champions would retain. So I was surprised with the title change. And then the group that won it, that too. But then I was like, it is a home crowd technically, right? It's a home crowd for them. So if you're gonna book three of the talents, right? Like it was that. Then you had the women's title match, and then you had Drew. Somebody was about to get something. There's no way all three was losing. So, I mean, it was a nice touch. You know, it was nice for them. It was a great moment for them. Hopefully they build something off of that, because I do think they are a good tag team. But the problem in WWE is that there's not women tag teams. They're the only two that are like real tag teams. You know what I mean? Everything else is always thrown in. Like Bianca and Jay were thrown in. Shayna and this girl's thrown in. So there's not real tag teams. I think they're like the only real tag team. And besides, who's the other people? They're I guess they're more tag team now.
Katana Chance,
yeah.
Kaden Carter.
Yeah, but they're also just not there either. Like they're kind of
the issue here, like with them winning, I think the only issue is that they had been on the main roster for like a fucking year, and I could probably count on two hands the amount of times they've been on TV. And then they lost in 2 minutes on Monday Night Raw before the show.
That's crazy to me, and that's why I was like, all right, you did the title change, but I'm like, should they have done it? Probably not. But it is what it is. I mean, again, they got a nice moment. I guess maybe that's why they did it. But yeah, match was start off solid and then just kind of just fall apart after that.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate, honestly, when you really kind of think about it. Like I wish that it would have turned out a lot better for them, for sure.
Same.
But the moment with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, I think that's what this match was all about. And I'm very happy for them because they deserved it. But we got a super chat donation here from our good brother Will Chisholm once again. Thank you so much, Will. He says, with AJ having these great matches and now working Noah, why does it feel like AJ last ride, but they're not making it public? Yes, it was announced this morning at Pro Wrestling Noah's grand ship. Josh got what he wanted. Triple H and Nick Khan, they watched a True Hill Heat flagship podcast. So should you. 281 is up right now. And it's got one of our most likes for our flagship podcast. So thank you for the support. But yes, he said it on that show. He said he wanted to see someone major from the main roster appear in Pro Wrestling Noah. If that was going to be the announcement, we talked about it on the flagship, and then it was announced at Grand Ship that AJ Styles, the former two-time WWE champion, will go one-on-one with Japanese legend Noah, one of the guys that are considered the Noah GOAT, Naramichi Marufuji. Marufuji last year had a dream match against Will Ospreay, and now this year he's facing a former two-time WWE champion, AJ Styles, a former two-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, returning to Japan to fight at Noah. That is huge.
Yeah, I was shocked as fuck. I was like, holy shit. They fucking finally listened. They finally listened to me. I was like, you see? Like you're telling me like this would have been the same excitement if it was some schmuck from NXT? Absolutely not. So I'm glad they went to the main roster. They had to. I think Noah's better than that. You had to. They're better than NXT. You had to go to the main roster, and I'm glad that it is Styles. Like going back to Japan, I mean, AJ Styles is very beloved in Japan. A lot of people don't know that. So it's gonna be fun. I definitely want to watch it. Might not watch it when it's live, but I'll definitely catch on to it. But it's a great fucking move. Now, the only thing I will say for WWE, what they need to do is they also need to help them promote that show. It's all nice and all you're showing the graphic and everything, but I think WWE needs to put in their part too. If you're gonna help another brand and you're about working business and you're about helping others, help promote the brand too. Like do that, because we didn't see that shit with them when TNA had Against All Odds. They didn't promote it. They didn't promote that. TNA was putting the effort of promoting Battleground, but WWE wasn't putting the effort to promote their stuff. So I think that's the only thing I would say that WWE also needs to do. Like, if your talent is on there, promote the show too. Help promote. If it's on TV, social media, whatever the case may be, promote that shit.
And I'm going to be fair and share some criticism with AEW. I'm sorry guys for the AEW fans, but yes, I'm bringing up AEW because AEW should do a better job with promoting New Japan. Like on last night's AEW Collision, they didn't even announce fucking TMDK as IWGP and NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Champion. The Bobby Cruz just announced them as Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols, TMDK, even though they walked out with 4 titles.
Yeah. Unless it could be a work and then they get pissed off. Hey, you didn't fucking acknowledge us. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be. We also got Frantic World that says Noah is getting a WWE main roster wrestler before TNA. Laughing emoji.
I mean, rightfully so, to be honest with you. I think Noah is a level above TNA. So, and that's just me being honest. That's just me being honest about it.
I would say Noah is like the second biggest promotion in Japan outside of New Japan.
Yeah, and you got to treat them like it. So, I mean, I get it. And it's a good move. It's surprising as fuck. And I've always said, if I get credit when it's due, all props to Nick Khan, because I ain't giving shit to Triple H. I know this ain't him.
Even though he's gonna take all the credit, and it's also people on social media. Social media being like, oh, Triple H working with Marigold and he's working with Noah and stuff like that. I'm like, and I think it was the Public Enemies podcast. I was like, oh, you spelled Nick Khan pretty weird. Like, that's a weird way to spell Nick Khan, because this is Nick Khan's move. It's not. Triple H is a part of the creative. If you want to give him credit for a great storyline or a great decision, a great call on the show, I'm all for that. But when it's Nick Khan is the driving force behind WWE working with other promotion, let's give Nick Khan the credit he deserves. The Khans have changed professional wrestling. Tony and Nick.
Yeah.
Give them. Let's put some respect on their names. Come on, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much, S. We appreciate the love, saying Happy Father's Day, SP3. We also got Frantic World saying, I bet Kate was pissed about that. And S. You must not watch on Thursdays, because I criticize and tell AEW needs to do better consistently on AE Ramble, the best AEW Dynamite review in the land. Welcome to the channel, S. But we got next up, we had the screen glitch, and then a message appeared on the screen, and it said, and I quote, "You were warned, told to prepare. You will behold, the massacre is coming." It's a Triple H Paul Effect show, and we got another QR code, another glitch. It seems like we're getting closer and closer to the Wyatt 6 debut. I think Fightful Select just put out a report talking about it, that saying that they were kind of going to be leading to more reality-based elements with this Wyatt 6 Uncle Howdy group than what was originally planned for the Bray Wyatt stable, which I think is the best move.
Yeah. because if you, that was always kind of the turn off when it comes to like all that stuff, is because of like the all supernatural spooky shit. People kind of just got over it. So if they're going more like realist, I think that's the best way to go. You want to leave all that weird, leave it to TNA. They're doing all that weird shit. Just leave it to them now. They don't got to do this. They really don't have to do it. So I'll be fine with that.
Yeah. And Estat, my comments are not rare for AEW. When AEW deserves criticism, I criticize it. I don't have a rage hate boner like some people do. You, sorry. Got that stuck in my throat here. I call them out when they need to, and that pissed me off with TMDK because I'm a TMDK mark. And Power Driver Finisher knows. Power Driver Finisher always mentions it that I and even Jimmy who does have a hate boner for AEW sometimes, he admitted I'm nothing but fair and non-biased when it comes to criticisms on every promotion, because I watch every promotion and I got criticisms for all of them, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, no, I'm saying like that's what it comes down to, man. If you're gonna give criticism, for me, it's more about fair criticism and what do you call that? I don't want to say unfair criticism, but if you're like one of those people when AEW started and you're like, oh, like now because you hear all the bad stuff now, like all the quote unquote bad stuff, you're like, oh, you see, this was always a thing. This was always like, now you're just, you're finally seeing the light. It's like, no, that's not fair because that wasn't always the case. Now, if you just didn't like something and that's just your preference, just admit that. That's okay. Just say, hey, this is not my thing. That's okay. So I think you've given fair criticism both ways. If they did something great, you'll say it, because even on social media, like you were praising the Cody and AJ match. I saw that. Like you were praising the matches. There's a lot of matches that you did like, some things that, of course, rightfully so, like that main event. Like you get criticism too. So I mean, at least on the channel, that's all. We always try to be fair. That's why I try to strive for.
Yeah, and check out over on Fightful on Thursdays where I criticize ROH weekly now.
Oh yeah, that's deserving. That's fucking deserving.
It's not my ROH. It's not the ROH I grew up on. But let's talk about WWE. Next up, WWE Intercontinental Championship was up for grabs. Sami Zayn defending against his rival Chad Gable, who had Otis and Maxine Dupree of Alpha Academy in their corner. The crowd was red hot for this one to start off. Sami Zayn's song being sang, as well as his name. They were calling Gable a wanker and cheering for Otis throughout. Zayn had the early advantage until Gable was able to target his arm as he tried to go for the ankle lock, and Sami grabbed the ropes. He kicked the ropes, which hurt Zayn's arm. I thought it was such smart psychology being worked off here, because Sami Zayn is great at selling injuries. They also had Wade Barrett mention that Zayn had previous arm and shoulder injuries. Zayn fought back while selling his left arm. He was able to hit a springboard dive, but tried to move off the top rope that Gable was able to drop kick him in midair and gain the advantage. At one point, Gable went outside and was already in Otis's face, making sure that he was on his side as the fans were chanting for Otis. Zayn would come back. He had a big Michinoku driver with a one-armed Michinoku driver, which was quite impressive. Gable responded by powerbombing him, and then he hit a nice little diving headbutt for a 2 count. Gable hit consecutive German suplexes that looked great. But Zayn was able to follow up with 2 German suplexes of his own. They traded counters, waist lock counter and counter and counter and counter. That was a great sequence, leading to Sami finally hitting a half and half suplex where Gable landed right on the top of his dome. Oh my God. I was like, I'm surprised you don't have a concussion, sir. Zayn fired back with strikes as Gable wrenched at his arm. He then locked him in a crossface. They reversed the crossface, though, as Zayn was able to get a crossface of his own. Gable countered that into the ankle lock and looked like Sami was on the verge of tapping out, but he was eventually able to counter into a roll-up for a 2 count. Gable went to the outside where he grabbed the Intercontinental Championship. Looked like he wanted to use it, but he instead handed it over to Maxine. But there was a plan in play as Gable distracted the referee so Dupree could hit Zayn with the Intercontinental Championship, but she couldn't pull the trigger. Gable then basically talked down to Maxine, telling her to get on the apron as he admonished her. Zayn went for the Aluva kick, but almost hit Maxine. He avoids hitting her as Gable uses that to hit a beautiful chaos theory for a very close near fall. Gable got into Dupree's face outside the ring, which led to Otis stepping in and stepping up to Gable. The crowd popped for that one. Zayn went for a flip dive as Gable moved out the way and Otis took the bullet for him. Gable goes to the top rope and hits a moonsault to the floor on Otis and Zayn. Back in the ring, he hits another moonsault he went for another moonsault, but Zayn was able to counter. He gets an exploder suplex into the corner, but Zayn couldn't hit the Aluva kick because of his ankle giving out. Gable was able to get the ankle lock on the outside as Zayn was able to get off of the guardrail where he originally had the ankle lock, and he floats over where Gable stumbles into Maxine and chop blocks her right in her bad ankle that she had the boot on. This leads to a great shot here of Gable and Otis staring down with one another as Otis was pissed off. Gable slips back into the ring. It seems like Otis might attack Sami Zayn on the outside, but he makes the choice of helping Maxine. Maxine was pleading for him not to and he helps her up. He picks her up and starts bringing her to the back to the dismay of Chad Gable. But he was so distracted long enough that he gave Sami Zayn the opening to finally hit the Aluva kick for the 1, 2, 3. Sami Zayn retains the Intercontinental Championship in another excellent matchup between these two guys. Really enjoyed this one. I give it 4.25 stars. The post-match shots were great with Otis in the entryway holding Maxine. Chad Gable with one of the best facial expressions I think I've ever seen in a WWE ring. Chad Gable has all the makings of an all-time heel. This one look was fantastic as he's pissed off at Otis and Maxine, pissed off he wasn't able to win the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn celebrates outside the ring where Gable is giving him the death stare, and Zayn looks at Gable and gives him the Vince Carter, "It's over" gesture, seemingly saying that this feud has ended here. Like I said, I thought this was an excellent encounter. It was heavy on the storyline elements, or maybe a little bit too heavy. I wish that it wasn't as heavy with the melodrama because it kind of took away from the great in-ring action that was going on between the both guys. But overall, the story was very well done. I give it 4.25 stars. What did you think?
It was a great matchup. I know that there are some people that are saying that this was their match of the night. Wouldn't really argue that take. Yeah, I think I probably would have liked more of like the work, more of the work stuff than like all like the gimmicky stuff. But I get it just because you have Chad, he's a heel and he's being desperate to try to win the title. So in that aspect, I get it. Doesn't necessarily mean like, yeah, this is my thing. But I was really surprised too that Sami retained. I really thought Gable would win. I'm like, how many times this man has had chances already, and he still can't win? This is glorified Jim Kelly right here. Like, that's how I feel. Like, he can't win. How many matches he's had for the IC title and he can't win? How many? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, goddamn. And he just signed a new contract and he still lost. Like,
Hey, he signed this new deal. It didn't say in the deal he was going to win the title.
I mean, it better not have, because man, did you see that video on Twitter where like Triple H, like when he's like introducing the crowd, like he's like this and there's a giant L. Basically, they were saying like, "Oh, they said when you be signed with WWE," and it was Triple H like this. So a lot of people took it the wrong way, and it was like, no, it was indication to Chad re-signing and then fucking losing. That's what it was. It had nothing. I think people took it way too deep. I thought it was hilarious. People took that shit way too deep, but it's true. He fucking lost. He lost after he just said, "Hey, I signed a new deal," and then guess what? A few hours later, bam, take the L.
But this one, I'm a little bit more forgiving of than the finish to the main event. Honestly, I think that this is a
Yeah,
part of the bigger story that Chad needs to cut the dead weight. He needs to cut
yeah,
Otis. He needs to cut Maxine Tozawa. He needs to get the Creed brothers as the new Alpha Academy, and then I think that he will get massive heat if they do another matchup in Toronto, in Canada, with Sami Zayn, and he wins there.
yeah. I get that. I think I'll be for that. It's just more of the stuff like I'm like, damn, bro, how many times the man's gonna lose? Like, give him something already. But I actually do like that idea. I think he does need to cut the dead weight. You put him with the Creed brothers because I don't know where they're at the moment. So I think you pair them up. I think that'd be great. You really need that because they could give glorified heat, and I think you really need that with Chad. I think he's doing some great stuff now, but the way he's doing it is because like they feel that they need him, right? That's why they haven't disbanded. Alpha Academy hasn't disbanded because they feel like they need Chad, but he's also manipulating them of staying. So once you get that story of, all right, fuck this, I'm out, I'm not coming back, then that's when you can go that route. Like when you can go full heel Gable route where he's just like, fuck everybody, let me get this title finally.
We got another super chat donation from our good brother Will Chisholm once again. Thank you so much, Will. He says, when Kurt saw Gable take that neck spot, he went up to Gable after the show saying, I got something for you. He handed him a handful of pills. I love how everybody is jumping on the Perk Gable the whole thing. The fact that people are making light of freaking Kurt Angle being a pilled up mess during a majority of his run in TNA is quite amusing because it was not looked at as a joke back when it was actually happening.
No, it wasn't, and it was very serious. That's the thing. That's why I'm like, it's funny now because at least Kurt Angle, he's better. He's in a better place in his life. But I'm like, yo, oh yeah, it wasn't a good thing.
Yeah. It's humorous, but it's just like, that's not what that wasn't what the point was. F. Dot saying Sammy was cooking. Sammy's had a great run as well. You know, we complimented Cody for his run since WrestleMania, but Sammy has been really good as well. The matchup with Bronson Reed and Chad Gable at King and Queen of the Ring was one of the better matches on that show. This one, arguably, I've seen people who say this was the best match of the show to them, even more than the opener, which I thought was better. But I think it's very evenly. Like I said, I gave the opener 4.5 stars. I gave this match 4.25. So it's not much difference in that rating if you thought it was higher than that. So really good stuff from these guys. And the feud has been so well done. It's been the best story, I think, since WrestleMania on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, same. And you build off of that. You know, again, I do agree. Like, yeah, opener was a little bit better, but this match easy could have been. Again, if you would have cut down maybe on like you said, like the other stuff, like the outside stuff, maybe you cut that down a little bit and then have more wrestling, then there's a better argument. What was better?
Brandon Brown, please show up tomorrow on the True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment channel because we are reviewing Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4, Episode 2 over there, me and Miss Chrissy Love. I believe we'll go live at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time. But this comment popped me. He said he signed a Weston Holdings deal. So to explain it to Josh, who doesn't actively watch it, Weston Holdings was a financial firm that was doing a Ponzi scheme in Season 3. So he said a Weston Holdings deal. That's what Chad Gable signed with WWE.
Oh, shit. Damn. It's fucked up.
That's a great comment. No, I'm sorry. That's not Brandon Brown. That's LeVay Carter. LeVay Carter, I apologize for that. But LeVay, join us tomorrow. Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4, Episode 2 review. We'll be live on the True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment channel. We do got another super chat donation from our good brother Will Chisholm once again. Well, you've been killing it this weekend between the Flash Hit podcast. I saw a whole bunch of super chats during the watch along and the show here. He says the sad thing is Kurt had great matches when he was a pilled up mess. Jeff Hardy didn't. So it makes it sad. Yo, yes, it was like Kurt Angle as a pilled up mess had like a superpower. It was like he was supercharged Angle during some of those matches. Like he had probably the best matches of Mr. Anderson, Mr. Kennedy's career back in his pilled up mess era.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, it's funny you just brought that up. You brought Mr. Anderson. He actually liked my video, the one I told you about with the Deadpool. He actually liked that video.
That's awesome.
I was like, wait, what the fuck? I was like, Mr. Anderson, what the fuck? It was so random.
Hey, Kennedy, Mr. Anderson, come on down. We'll interview here at the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. We'll get you another payday because we got to continue our streak of getting people paid by these top promotions. But thank you so much for the super chat, Will. And you're very right. Jeff was not at his best as a pilled up mess. We got Power Driver Finisher. He says, I mean, the story part was what was entertaining for me. The wrestling was going to be there. Yeah, of course, because it's two of the best wrestlers on the roster. And it was the overall story overall. But I'm sorry, post-match with this visual, that was the best part of the matchup for me.
Yeah, that's what makes it funny. Which and you know, I'm not disagreeing with Power Driver Finisher. I just think that in the aspect of like if we're giving like critique of the match, right? We're giving like, you know, if we're comparing like the opener to this match, that's where I'm more going with. I'm like, yeah, maybe you cut that down a little bit and then have more of the wrestling, then it probably would have been match of the night. But I also did say like, yeah, I understood what they were going for, which I was fine with again, because again, there is an active storyline when it comes to that. And I think people really want Otis to break out of it because again, he's very likable. You see why he's likable. And this is something I talked about on the podcast yesterday. So that's all they've just been in that up, you know, and then, you know, hopefully it happens soon. Hopefully they don't wait too late on it, but it looks like it's getting there.
Yeah. So we get a backstage interview, a victory interview with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. Nice little moment for them. Dawn said they planned on keeping the belts for a long time. I hope so, because these fucking tag team titles are like a hot potato. So I hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Today is yesterday was Bayley's 35th birthday as she defended the WWE Women's Championship against the home country's own from Scotland, Piper Niven, who was with Chelsea Green in her corner. Niven was. I find it weird that they added that to her theme song. Especially when Samantha is sometimes the person ring announcing for them. So that was weird. But now Samantha doesn't have to stay on Raw. She can go, they can switch it up. They can put Alicia Taylor on Raw. She could be on SmackDown because all the people I want her to announce for are on SmackDown. But we had Bayley, who received a mixed reaction during the intro, while Piper Niven got heavy cheers from the Scotland crowd. But then it was kind of weird with the crowd reaction throughout this matchup. It really felt like the crowd were like, okay, Piper Niven is a heel, but she's from here, so we want to cheer her. But Bayley is a babyface, but she's not from here, but we still want to cheer her. So when we had the mixed reaction for Bayley at the intro, we had cheers for Piper Niven. And then throughout the matchup, it just felt like they didn't know whether to cheer or boo, or they just cheered and boo in equal measure for a lot of things. Like the crowd started to sing the Bayley song as the match started, and then they started chanting for Piper Niven. Niven got the advantage using her size and strength advantage, knocking Bayley out of the ring. Green slapped Bayley. Bayley went after Green, but Niven dropped her again. Nice little senton off the apron onto Bayley at one point, which really got the crowd into things. Green tried to get involved again, but the referee tossed her from ringside, which she got pissed off and said that she broke her hand. Nevin was distressed by the turn of events, but she used her size advantage once again, hit a big senton. She was hitting all these like Samoa Joe type moves, which were great throughout this matchup. Bayley, Nevin went for a suplex, but Bayley countered into a DDT. She had a suicide dive, but Nevin was dove at Bayley into the side of the ring. Bayley fought back with Nevin draped over the middle rope. Bayley hit a nice little elbow drop for a 2 count. At one point, they fought to the top rope where Bayley was able to hit the Bayley to belly off the middle rope, and both ladies were down at this point. At this point, Lucha Chelsea came down. She literally did not change anything about her outfit. She just came out in a lucha mat.
Bro, that's what made it funny. Yeah. Yo.
I love how unhinged Chelsea Green is. She's just so great. She is one of the best personalities in WWE. Green runs down. She detracts the referee while Bayley is getting the cover. This gave Nevin enough time to kick out. Nevin followed up with a big Piper driver, which looked really good for a near fall. Bayley went after Nevin outside of the ring, but Nevin was able to hit a big boss man slam. Eventually, she went after Chelsea on the outside when she tried to get involved again, tossing her into the barricade. Bayley avoided another senton. Nevin hit a headbutt instead, but Bayley was able to get to Nevin's back, hit a big crucifix bomb, and unlike Randy Orton and Gunther at last month's event, Bayley made sure both shoulders were down, got the pinfall, 1, 2, 3. Bayley retains the WWE Women's Championship. I like this matchup. It started off slow, and I thought it got better as it went along. So I gave the match 3.5 stars. A good reaction for Nevin after the matchup as well. But like I said, I thought that the crowd was the one thing that was kind of missing from this matchup because there wasn't a defined, it wasn't defined that, okay, Piper Nevin is the babyface for the night because she's from Scotland. Bayley definitely worked this matchup like she was the babyface, and she was the babyface going in. So it felt like the crowd couldn't decide who they wanted to cheer for.
Yeah, same. Match was okay. Didn't expect anything crazy. Already knew Bayley was gonna retain, so I wasn't really invested when it comes to that. Again, match was okay. Nothing too crazy. It is what it is.
That is fair. We got the actor extraordinaire said that crucifix bomb finish. Man, damn. I thought it was a nice little surprise finish there. We got Power Driver Finisher says she looked photoshopped midair a little bit. Yeah. We got Safed who also agrees with Josh saying the match was just okay. We also got I think Power Drive Finisher, he says, I felt they were confused for Isla and Alba on SmackDown. Also, like they're in their home country and they didn't really react because, well, I'd say they're booking. Yeah, I think that the reason why they couldn't like go fully into Piper is because this is very new that Piper is getting this much, TV time in the build up to this matchup, and they didn't have that kind of like that love and adulation that they would later have in the main event for Drew.
Yeah, and I noticed that with Triple H's booking, he's done this shit several times where it's kind of like I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, bro, if the person's not over and you're not really investing in their build-up, then stop fucking doing this. Because like Selena last year, right? Selena got a nice reaction, right, in the Puerto Rican crowd. But then what was she doing before that she got a title match? Like, what was she doing before that? So
and that's all I said on social media, and she blocked me. That's all I said. All I said is that I wish they would have gave her a few more wins before. They knew the show was in Puerto Rico. They could have gave her more wins beforehand. And
that's the fuck. Just for saying, and it wasn't even a criticism to her. It was just a booking. But that's what I'm saying too. Like that's what I'm saying myself. I'm like, yeah. And then it's hard for me to. I was like, okay, cool. And then you did the same thing with Piper Nevin. I'm like, what was she doing before this? And then all of a sudden she gets the title match. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. I'm like, yo, like, if you're going to be doing stuff like this, like, make it mean something. And I think that's why, even when Drew was in at the first Clash at the Castle, it meant something because they were doing something prominent with Drew. They had a nice build up to Drew to the point that that it was believable. Like, oh shit, they actually might end Roman's streak now. They might end his reign now. And you know, that's the shit that I'm like, yo, like, can we cut this out? Like, all right, you're going to this home country. Can we stop doing this shit? And the person's not gonna win anyway. Stop doing it. That's all I prefer. Like, just stop doing this shit.
Yeah, like the 3 people that have me blocked on Twitter are the weirdest thing. Like, it's Alita is because I criticized her booking. I think Wade Barrett is more because he just blocked a whole bunch of like wrestling journalists and wrestling media. Even though I retweeted my post that was getting a lot of traction yesterday, where I said he's now the best commentator in WWE after his performance in the main event, and I retweeted it earlier today. I was like, can someone tag Wade and tell him to unblock these? Because like I have no issues with him. I've actually been very much of a fan of Wade Barrett for years, and then Copeland. I will say, Copeland is the only one that I kind of earned it because I did shit on the original Judgment Day run where he was doing those weird fucking local crowd heat promos when you're trying to do a dark character. So that's fair, Copeland. That's fair. Copeland's the only one that I'm like, okay, that's understandable.
Yeah, that's funny. I was trying Terrence from Florida that one time to block me, and because I basically indicated that he is a racist, and it's like, oh, I guess it must be true because he ain't blocked me.
We also got Queen Monet. Trust me, Queen Monet. I've been saying this for weeks. She says, "Is it bad that I forgot Bayley is the champion?" Sometimes I told you. I said last week, and I've been saying it over on Sports Keto Wrestling as well. It felt like 3 to 4 weeks in a row where I was like, "Oh yeah, Bayley is the WWE Women's Champion," because they have showed her no respect since WrestleMania.
Yeah, and honestly, this is kind of feeling like the SmackDown run. Remember when she was the champion on SmackDown? It's been feeling like that, like where you forget like how long she's had the belt, like, oh, she's still champion. That's cool. It's getting to that too, and I'm like, it's unfortunate because I think she has so much to deliver, especially when she's the only active horsewoman that's around.
It's like, show her some more respect, please. So, it's not bad. It's on the WWE booking. Like I said, we always criticize the booking, not the talent. We did see the world's strongest man, Tom Stoltman, the Albatross, in the crowd for this one. And then it was time for the main event of WWE Clash at the Castle 2024. It was Drew McIntyre challenging Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Drew had one of the best entrances of the year so far, in my opinion. You had the infantry and district pipe band playing the Scotland the Brave ahead of Drew's regular entrance music. And I'm glad that they didn't bring back, Broken Dreams. That was fine for, the first Clash at the Castle. They don't need to repeat it every time he's back in the UK. And his theme music is so Scottish. It's so Scottish. So it just fits for him to come out with that. And plus the band could play along to the theme as well. Drew had the letter K on his wrist tape in honor of his wife, who was back in the United States recovering from emergency surgery. It just had all the emotion. My missus was so into this matchup, and she wanted to see Drew win, especially hearing about his wife being, in recovering from surgery. The crowd was so incredibly loud. They pulled out the decimal meter on the screen and it got up to like 102. This crowd was incensed. They were cheering, singing Drew McIntyre's name, even to the point when Damian Priest comes out like he's John Cena at One Night Stand 2006. You could not even hear Damian Priest's new theme music because the crowd was just singing Drew McIntyre's name throughout it. But the crowd was so into this one. They made this matchup so much better. The intensity of both guys as they stared down with each other during the intro. And Drew came out flying early on in this one, showing and flexing a bit. He took Priest to the outside and hit an early dive just as the match was getting started, about 90 seconds in. He tried an overhead suplex, but Priest drove him into the ring post, into the barricade. Priest tried some corner elbows, but McIntyre caught him and hit a spine buster moments later for a 2 count in the ring. Priest hit a flatliner, a corner elbow drop, and then a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count of his own. McIntyre came back with a Michinoku driver, looked smooth for a 2 count of his own. McIntyre drove Priest into the announce table at ringside, into the prime bottles that were all knocked over. Priest tried for a flip dive, but this is when a mishap happened, as Damian Priest got caught in the fucking ropes upside down by his ankle. The referee could not even get him out because the ropes were so tied up in this one. I love McIntyre really reacting like naturally. Like first he went down. It wasn't a planned spot because McIntyre went down like he was about to get the dive, but then he reacted right away. I love Drew McIntyre improvisation as he went and he attacked Damian Priest. He even told the referee, I can't win with him caught up in the ropes. McIntyre decides to help Priest out of the ropes, smartly noting that he can't win the title that way. McIntyre hit a vertical suplex in the ring, but Priest was able to come back with a clothesline. McIntyre drove him into the ring post, and he put him into the then hit him with the future shock DDT for a 2 count. Priest throughout the rest of this contest was selling the ankle a lot. He was limping throughout this matchup. He booted McIntyre. Every time he used that ankle, he would sell it very, very well. And I was like, man, if he's not injured, he is selling the shit out of this. This is the best sell drop I've ever seen from Priest. He even does a one-legged razor's edge, which was one of the most impressive moves I think I've ever seen Damian Priest do. They traded right hands and strikes. They were like slugging it out in this one. Priest looked like he was gaining the advantage there as McIntyre was able to duck a kick and hit a neck breaker. McIntyre was about to set up for the Claymore, but Priest was able to roll out the ring. McIntyre hit a big headbutt, and then he hit a huge Claymore, and Priest right into and destroyed the barricade. He was out. It seemed like McIntyre was on the verge of victory. McIntyre brought him in the ring and looked for another Claymore, but Priest caught him with the South of Heaven chokeslam for a very close near fall. At this point, the Scotland crowd was loud with "This is awesome" chants. Priest really sold the injured leg as they were fighting it out. He hit a various like smooth kicks. He was still hitting those great kicks that he does and selling the leg every time he hit it. He was just great in this one. This was probably Damian Priest's best performance in the main event when the spotlight was on him the most. He had a Hurricane Rana despite the injury as well. He couldn't follow up because of the injury. McIntyre flew at him with a Claymore kick, a second of the matchup, which got a close near fall. McIntyre tried for the overhead suplex. He hit a big chop. The referee almost got in the corner, but he was managed to escape out of the ring. However, Priest inadvertently knocked the referee off the apron, and he jumped into the barricade at ringside with the referee out. McIntyre was finally hit a third Claymore, and he goes for the cover. It looks like he has the visual pin for about 15 seconds, and I will give WWE credit. They shot this masterfully. We get the wide shot we see a referee running down the aisleway, the entranceway to get into the ring. They shot the referee from behind as we go 1, 2, and the referee stopped short. And then it's revealed. We see Drew's reaction first, and then they see that the referee is none other than CM Punk. He gives Drew the same peace sign that Drew does in the t-shirt mocking CM Punk and his WrestleMania main event hopes. McIntyre went after Punk, trying to choke him out and kill him at this point. He is so pissed, but Punk comes back with a kick to the balls, kick right to the nuts. Punk goes out of the ring as the original referee very conveniently wakes up at this point. The crowd is booing loudly as Damian Priest hits the South of Heaven chokeslam, and you heard the fucking 3 count on the mat like it echoed throughout this building as the crowd just got silent on every count of 1, 2, 3. And the crowd reacted just how you would expect. Some boos, silence, like shock that they did it again. They screwed Drew McIntyre, this time in his home country of Scotland, as CM Punk with a couple of fans, couple of marks, fucking taking selfies. They should be flipping them off like that one fan in the front row was flipping them off, as Damian Priest retains the World Heavyweight Championship. The crowd shots were great with this guy being the gem of them all. As you see Punk and Priest have a brief stare down. I saw briefly Priest and McIntyre exchanging encouraging words with each other as they were down in the ring. Punk was posing with some fans. Another gave him a middle finger, and freaking Wade Barrett was going apoplectic. He was saying that Punk deserves to be fired, as Drew was pissed off. Drew went off after the show went off the air on Corey Graves and the referee, among other people. And like I said before, Wade Barrett was unwilling to even praise this show during the post-show. He even shitted on Triple H and CM Punk for what happened in the press conference with them getting softball questions. The Triple H part of the post-show was so unnecessary, and it was staggeringly horrifying how he got no productive questions. I'm sorry, I don't tend to shit on the media, but there was no reason for Triple H to even do the post show if he wasn't going to get a real question. They didn't ask him about TKO, they didn't ask him about TNA, Noah, Punk, or anything really. Like, it was ridiculous, but that's besides the point. This match delivered though. Despite my issues with the finish, I thought there was more creative finishes that I saw from fans. I came up with a more creative finish where Punk unintentionally helps Drew McIntyre win the title, and then he can hold it over Drew's head that his one moment was thanks to Punk. I thought that was a better story for the rivalry going on. But realistically, Drew and Punk does not need the title, and they will still be the biggest feud on Monday Night Raw. And I want the world title to be in the biggest feud. So that's why I wanted Drew to win. But Priest retains here. Like I said, the match was great, 4 stars. I just didn't like the finish and I like how it was shot. I didn't like how it was executed. It felt very deflating for not just the fans in Scotland, for me watching at home. What did you think?
Basically the same. Match was solid. I'm not gonna lie to you, that rope spot did bother me because it was kind of like, in my mind, it kind of felt, I'm like, yo, is Damian really hurt? Because that was serious. Like, that, his fucking foot, ankle was stuck.
Yeah, if he's really hurt, it makes the finish even dumber.
Yeah, and it's just I was like, fuck, like, damn, like, but then it looked like he was fine after. So, but then, I mean, again, the finish itself, again, when we did the predictions, I was like, yeah, do I think Punk is going to get involved? 100%. I think that's what I said, right? I said 100. No, I said 200%.
Yeah, you said 200.
Yeah, so I said 200%, which I was technically right. And then I did have Priest winning. So I was right on both ends. But like I said, there was something about that finish. I was just like, yo, I think they could have done better. I think something better could have happened. Maybe like if there was even a situation where Drew, like, you know, Punk was getting into Drew's head, and that's basically what cost him the match. I think I could live with that more, because it wasn't a situation where Punk is getting legitimately involved, and then, you know, all that shit happened. And then the shit with the crowd was weird, because like it just looked awkward on TV. Like the few fans that were like celebrating with Punk, you had like those 4 or 5 guys, like, oh, CM Punk, everyone else looking in the ring like their fucking family member died. It was awkward. Like, the whole thing was weird. Why was he even doing that? In my opinion, I'm like, why was he celebrating? Like, why didn't he just act like a heel in the moment? Because we all know he was getting booed out of the building. Why didn't he just go full heel in that moment? I'm not saying that, yeah, this is a turn, which Chris G thinks is a turn. I'm like, no, that ain't a fucking turn. They're still gonna have.
Well, I mean, the way Punk went about it, like, yeah, I saw, you know, Power Driver finishers saying, I enjoyed this because it made sense for Punk to do this. Did it? Because Punk already got his revenge on Drew for talking shit.
Yeah, he already did. Yeah, he already did.
Drew has not got any payback for WrestleMania. So
Yeah,
this feels like a heel move more than it does
yeah,
like,
it feels like a double
Punk is
down.
just
It's a
getting
double. Yeah,
revenge for Drew talking shit. No, he already did that at WrestleMania.
yeah, and it just feels like a double down. Like it just feels like, I'm like, all right, he got his revenge. I mean, that's what they kept saying too. Like, oh, he got his revenge. I'm like, no, he got his revenge when Damian Priest cashed in on Drew at the biggest stage. That was his revenge. So him just doing it at this point is just him. It's a like again, that's more heelish because it's like you're just constantly just doing it. Now you're just being a nuisance. So in that aspect, I get it. Again, there was just something about it I didn't like. But then the fucking backstage footage shows up on social media. That fucking annoyed me. Not annoyed me, but I'm just like, yo, this shit makes it even worse. Like it makes it even worse that he's watching the match.
Just the Kokari looks like an idiot.
Yeah, because they're fucking. He's clearly watching the match, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Let me get a ref shirt," and then she just fucking gives it to him. I'm like, what? Like what? Like this is now if he was being sneaky about it and he like went about it like that, I could live with it. But the fact that you deliberately asked the ref for a ref shirt and then she fucking gives it to you, one, it's like, well, where's the fucking protocol to all of this shit? And then two, you just made your ref look very fucking stupid. Like, you just handed him up the shirt and then he took it and ran. Like, what the fuck? Like you're telling me like if I was to ask for a shirt, I get one too? Like, what the fuck was that? That's why it was more like at first I was like, I don't know how I feel. Now it was just more like, yeah, after seeing that, it looks even more ridiculous.
Yeah, and like Queen Monet is saying, why wouldn't Punk want Drew to be champion? Because he knows they'll eventually have a match, which means he'll get a title shot, or does he just not care about the title? Yeah, it's like regardless of like I said, I think the Drew and Punk feud doesn't need the title, but then therefore the title is not going to be the main event program on Monday Night Raw moving forward. Especially, and I do agree with also Safet in the chat who said that Punk was very entertaining. Punk was the best part of the presser. Him coming out with the donuts, him shitting on the media. He was great in that. He was playing up the heel moment that he had here. But is this them getting heat on a babyface because they're in the heel's home country, or was this a double turn? That's what I want to know. It's a wait and see to it. And I'm not saying it was a bad decision. I just think they could have done it better.
Yeah. Not only that, but I don't know. I think it's for the country. I don't see it as a double turn because it really wouldn't add up if you do that. Like, what's the point of that? Like, what was the point of a double turn in this kind of situation? Because when double turns happen, there were meaningful situations. Like, there was a reason why. Like, for example, when the double turn happened between Swerve and Paige, the reason that happened is because fucking Paige got overly obsessed. That's why the double turn happened. So that made sense of why that moment happened. And then you have like even ages ago with Bret Hart, the double turn that happened because Bret Hart, in the I Quit match, didn't want to fucking let go of the sharpshooter. And it got to a point that Tan Shamrock had to slam him to get him off the sharpshooter. So those situations made sense. Like in this situation, it's like he already got his revenge, and then he went back to screw him over in his home country. So what's the reason that he's turning heel? Like you know what I mean? Like what's the reason?
And Punk even said he's gonna make Drew's life a living hell, like Emmanuel says here. But he's making his life a living hell not because Drew injured him. He's making his life a little hell because Drew said some words about him. It makes Punk come off very petty. That's what
makes it even worse.
In my eyes, like his explanation that he gave at the presser in the moment, it was good, but in my eyes, that makes you the heel to me.
Yeah, just off of words. I'm like, now if you made it about the injury, then yeah, focus on the injury, make it about that. But once you say about, but then again, it's Phil Brooks. He does get upset over words. So
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. 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 This just brings me back to like, oh, they're making Punk into his real life antics that he did in AEW. That's what it comes off as to me. We got a super chat donation once again from the one and only Will Chisholm. You're killing it, sir. He says it's weird. Priest being hurt makes the match feel like a real fight and struggle. I did love how he was flexing at the media scrum. We know he looks at social media 100%. He's been getting shitted on throughout his title run. This was a good, a good moment for him to have that braggadocious kind of press conference. I thought he handled himself very well during the press conference, but this was his best performance as WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Because especially if he fought through injury to get this done. I gave the match overall 4 stars, like I said before. Like it was a great main event matchup with the crowd adding so much to it. But Priest held his own and did some of his best selling, and maybe it's not selling because he was really injured, but some of the best selling of his whole career. And the fact that they improvised it and they pivoted and made that part of the story of the matchup was superb by both guys.
Yeah, and I would say too about with Priest, I think the problem too is that when he became champion, we kind of did see that tease of him turning babyface, and I think that's where it was like, oh, all right, we could see some things, and then it's kind of felt like they got away from that. Like he started doing heel stuff again. They kind of got away from that. So I think there needs to be like a real direction when it comes to that, because again, Judgment Day, they are still losing. He's surrounded by a bunch of losers, so you got to do something about that. Like if you're the champion and you're winning and your guys are fucking being bums, you got to do something about that.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and I agree with Alex Powell here. Then this is the point, the bigger point that I'm trying to say. Like that's why I had the finish of them redoing SummerSlam 1997. That Punk tries to prevent Priest from winning, but accidentally is the reason why Priest wins, because I want the World Heavyweight Championship to always be on this level. It's in the main event. It felt important here in this matchup because Drew made the World Heavyweight Championship important with his character work that he did at the end of 2023 into this year. He deserves to be in the World Heavyweight title picture, in the main event picture on Monday Night Raw. I'm not saying that Priest doesn't deserve it, and I think that he earned his spot here, but regardless, his matchup with Gunther, it's not even the second biggest matchup at SummerSlam. Like, whatever Cody's doing, whether it's Orton or Roman, that's one. Then you got Punk and Punk and McIntyre, that would probably be 2 right now. If Rhea Ripley comes back and she's facing Liv Morgan with the great work Liv's doing as a character, that would be 3. Whatever Solo and the Bloodline are doing, that might be 4. Like, Priest and Gunther is going down the list, and we haven't even got to the build to SummerSlam already.
Yeah, and that's why it's like, yeah, that's actually a good point, because honestly, even if there was a scenario where Cody's not defending the title, whatever he's doing is going to feel more important, and that's kind of the problem too that they're facing with this kind of thing. Like, yeah, I think Priest and Gunther is only a good matchup because it's like, all right, probably gonna get the title off Priest and make Gunther the champion, right? Because I think that's what everybody wants, right? So I'm like, an aspect.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you continue, but also Logan Paul's from Cleveland, so he's also above. Priest and Gunther. That's another thing. That just hit me. Especially they're doing Logan Paul and LA Knight that they've been building for months now. Like, yeah, that's bigger than that too.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to like, that's the only reason why that would make sense for like the Gunther and Priest, is because that will be the reason to get the belt off of Priest, as in like an actual matchup that I want to see. Do I really want to see that matchup? Not really. And that's the problem. That's the problem that they're facing. Now they would have done Drew versus Punk for the title, yeah, but because you already implemented that the King of the Ring gets the title shot at SummerSlam, that's the part that you kind of get handcuffed in, because again, Drew versus Punk, it's a bigger match for the title. That would make it even more important, regardless of, yeah, I don't think it needs the title, but I do agree, like if this is going to be your top story, then yeah, it should be going after the title.
Yeah, and this is my thing. Like right now, despite, and you know, we both got love for Damian Priest because both of us were from New York like Damian Priest. We saw Damian Priest in Ring of Honor. We were at a bunch of the shows together when he was in Ring of Honor. Even before we were friends, we were probably there together, seeing him come up as Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor and in the independent scene in New York City. So we got a bunch of love for Damian Priest. The issue right now is the booking. It's like the title is making him, he's not making the title. Where the Punk and Drew feud would make the world title feel bigger.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, it's unfortunate for Priest because he's worked his fucking ass off. Like, if you're talking about his Ring of Honor run to WWE, he's one of the very few guys who've had a stellar WWE career compared to like his secondary company career. Yeah. So I mean, there's no knock to Priest. And again, I was in favor of him winning the title. I was in favor, but I do get like this is kind of the issue that they're dealing with now. Now, if some are saying maybe it was a 2-night event this year, then that's a different story. But now because they're pushing it, they're making 2026, they're fucking commercials for it now, which is ridiculous. But yeah, that's the problem that they're dealing with now. Like you name how many scenarios, like 5 different like matchups, not even matchups, like people. In general, they feel more important at the moment, and that's just the fortunate situation they got to deal with.
Alex Powell, that's a tough burn right there. He said Priest versus Drew. No, I think he means Priest versus Gunther is the modern day Dolph versus Dean at SummerSlam. That's harsh, but yeah,
I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it is just because of how that went about, and I think nobody had fucking Dolph winning. In this case, I think I have Gunther winning, getting the title. That's why it's a little bit different for me. That's why I look at it differently. But I do get like the whole, as in like how important it feels. That match did not fucking feel important at all in that card.
No, it did not. But we have come to a close on our WWE Clash at the Castle review. So you know what time it is. If you're new to the channel, what we do with all the pay-per-view reviews is we give you our match of the night, our MVP and LVP of the whole entire show, whether we gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did we give the show overall? So you let us know in the live chat, all of that as well. Give us your match of the night, MVP, LVP, your thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give the show? And a last call for Super Chat donation. Thank you so much to Will Chisholm and anyone else who wants to show us support with those Super Chat donations. They go a long way to helping everybody out, make some dough off of this great YouTube channel that we're doing here. But let's put our thumbs in the middle, Josh, for WWE Clash at the Castle 2024. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us. Josh, what did you give the show out of 10?
Probably a 7. I think just because of the main event, that finish kind of lowered it for me. Yeah, I think 7 is fine because good opener, right? You had a great opener. The women's tag title match fell apart. Sammy versus Gable was great. Bailey versus Piper was okay. Not bad, but it was okay. And in the main event, both guys did work together well, but then, unfortunately, the finish happened.
Yeah, it sucks. But yeah, I'll give, I'm going to go higher than you. I'll go 8 out of 10. I thought that the opener and the close, the main event were great. I thought Sammy and Gable were great. I thought Bailey and Piper was good. And I thought the women's tag match were going well until the match fell apart towards the end. So it was shaping up to be all 5 matches were at least, at the very least, solid throughout the night. So I got to give it an 8 out of 10. It wasn't the best show from WWE. I think the benchmark for that is still WrestleMania 40 Night 2, but still it was a top to bottom, a really good show and better than King and Queen of the Ring to me. And I think even slightly better than Backlash overall to me as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a good argument because I think those are the 3 shows you could kind of compare it to. I think WrestleMania 40, what they did with that is kind of like, hey, yeah, you're not going to have a better show than WrestleMania 40 night 2. You're not. And that's okay. And that's a good thing. I think that's a great thing for WrestleMania. Like I think that WrestleMania needs to be that, to be honest with you. So I think that's fine. But those are 3 shows that you're going to be really make good arguments with. But yeah, I'll stick with a 7 just because, again, like I said before, the points that I made, 7 is still good. It's not like it's bad. So
Yeah, and my other critique about the main event finish is that Triple H has to be careful. He has to kind of be like, I understand, you know, he has this laid out creative and story for everything that he wants to do, but like he's starting to make me feel like these B pay-per-views are not essential viewing. That the B pay-per-views are just leading to the big pay-per-views, whether it be SummerSlam, whether it be Survivor Series. He needs to be more reactive to what the fans are going for. Like to have a finish like the Gable and Sammy, where it felt like it was Gable's time to win, and he didn't win because he has a laid out creative. He's pacing it along. He's going to do it at a certain point and building to the next point and building to the next point, whatever. And, you know, the same pay-per-view, you have the punk screwing Drew finish. It just feels like I want a little bit more. I want you to give us some big moments on these B pay-per-views, and I felt like the Scotland crowd deserved that.
no, I agree with that, and that's and the problem is that because they're so damn PLEs, is like, what can you really do, right, when it comes to these big moments? So and they're not going to cut those out. I mean, obviously they're making a shitload of money when they do these alone, so that won't happen. So I'm not going to say, oh yeah, they need to cut it down. So I do agree with, like, they need to do something that's going to make it big, make it a moment that's going to matter. And if you're just leading that up to SummerSlam, then these shows are not going to, I'm not going to be needed to watch these shows live. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, all right, I could just go back to it and watch it later, you know, and I want to be a fan where it's like, all right, this shit matters. I'm going to watch it. Like WrestleMania. All right, I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch it live. A lot of these PLEs, sometimes, like, this was like one of the few PLEs that I'm like, all right, I'll take my time and watch it live. But a lot of them, realistically, I just go back to watch them. Like, I don't watch it live because of that, because of what you just said.
Yeah. But who was your MVP for the show?
MVP, I'm gonna go with Cody Rhodes. He retained his title, and he made AJ Styles a little bitch.
Fair point. I'm going to give it to Damian Priest. I think he's the one that impressed me the most, getting the win, but most of all, gutting through the injury after the slip and fall. And either it was the greatest sell job of his career, or he really got hurt, and he still wrestled for 20 more minutes in that matchup. So credit to Damian Priest on that one, my MVP of the show. And honorable mention to Isla Dawn and Alba Fire for the surprise title win in their hometown as well. LVP for the show, I'm sorry, I got to give it to Drew McIntyre. Drew, how did you not see this coming? Like, you spent all this time getting the Judgment Day banned from ringside. How did you not see that CM Punk was going to be your difference maker and screw you over?
Yeah. My LVP is going to be Drew, and it's going to be Chad Gable, because now, again, it's becoming like Jim Kelly. Like, how many? Jim Kelly went to the Super Bowl 5 times. You know how many times he won the Super Bowl? 0 fucking times. Become like that with Chad Gable. How many times he got the IC title match? How many times already? And how many times he's won it? 0.
And you see, Drew re-signed, Gable re-signed, both took L's. You see why Ricochet ain't re-signing?
He got thrown to a fucking trailer.
My match of the night, I'm gonna give it to Cody versus AJ.
Same. I'm gonna go with the opener.
Yeah, Great match by those two guys. And that's the only reason why AJ didn't get LVP, because he did say I quit like a little bitch. But that brings us to a close on our WWE Clash at the Castle 2024 review. I want to thank you all for joining us live. We all always love interacting with you, even the people who try to throw some shade towards me, and I have to clap back and then probably get upset at me. I'm sorry, guys. Don't come at me, and I won't come at you. But we still love you. That's that. But yes, we appreciate y'all for joining us live. We also appreciate you if you're watching us on demand. Remember to drop that thumbs up on the video as well. And thank you so much to Josh for joining me, the True Draw. Appreciate you, good brother. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they'll see you again.
You can follow me, JMPunk321, Twitter and Instagram, mostly Instagram. I'll be on Wednesday for Elite Heat. We're closer to 100 episodes, so gonna do my best to get to that. I also will be at Forbidden Door in person. I got my tickets, so when I was talking about it on the stream on Wednesday, I was like, I really want to go to the show. I'm gonna try to get tickets. That ended up happening today, so I'll be at that show. And Saturday, I'll be on for Elite Heat. I say Elite Heat. Trail Heat 282. I'll be on for that on Saturday.
Let's go. We're gonna continue our streak on True Hill Heat for sure. See you next Saturday for that. And Power Driver Finisher. Yes, Kendrick dropped bars. And shout out to everyone who watched our Kendrick Lamar and Drake star rating video. That is over 100,000 views as well. We appreciate y'all for that. You guys own for that one. But yes, follow me on the Twitter machine at True Hill SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat. Best place to support us when we are not live here, $3 a month. Our Patreon site, we're going to have my review of the Despy Invitational over there. And I'm trying to figure out tomorrow, we'll either have Collision Discourse. I already got Sober Guy JJ, he's ready for that. So we'll review the 1-year anniversary of AEW Collision. And I'm trying to figure out if me, Sanal, and J News can also review NJPW Soul from this morning, because, they had some big things on that show with the G1 announcement, the lineup for that, Konosuke Takeshita of AEW in the J1. Also had 3 new champions being crowned, including El Desperado, the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. So we'll see, either we'll pre-record it and we'll drop it on the channel later this week. We'll figure that out during the week. But also get your merchandise, ProWrestlingTees.com, foryourwear.com. And of course, check out all the great content on the channel right now, like the aforementioned True Hill Heat 281, talking about Jeff Hardy leaving AEW for TNA, Ricochet's write-off from WWE, Hikuleo on his way to WWE after his NJPW departure. So check that out now as well. But for the True Draw, Josh, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our WWE Clash at the Castle 2024 review. Fuck you, CM Punk. From Scotland, we are signing off until next time.